But we start tonight with what can be best described as the photo op of the day. A photo op, in fact, some would say for a very long time. Because in a special gesture during his Israel visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Moshe Holtzberg, the Israeli child who lost his parents in the 2008 Mumbai terror attack. Moshe read out a poem for the Prime Minister and expressed his hope of returning to Mumbai as an adult. Modi, on his part, extended warm greetings to Moshe, his family, and importantly, his nurse, Sandra, the lady who saved him during the 26/11 attack. Let's listen in as the Prime Minister spoke to Moshe and Sandra.
I want to give you a blessing.
My name is Moshe Holtzberg, the son of Rabbi Gabi and Rivki Holtzberg. I am 11. They are sent by Lubavitch. I am 11 years old. I was saved by my very special nanny Sandra. May God bless them. My parents lived in Mumbai.
You're Indian nanny.
My parents lived in Mumbai. They helped every person, Jewish and not Jewish, alike. The house was open to everyone. I now live in Israel with my grandparents, Rabbi Shimon and Judith Rosenberg, in their house in the city of Afula. I may want to bless my grandparents for my father, Rabbi Nachman and Frida Holtzberg. I am an happy child, thank God, and I love to play. I try to be a good student. I would like to wish you, Amara Shirwad, Abki Sat Hebot, Pradan, Matri Renge, Salotak. I will be able to visit Mumbai, and when I get older, I live there. I will be the director of our Chabad house. With God's help, this is my house, an house of goodness. Dear Mr. Modi, I love you, and your people in India.
So, would you like to come and stay in India and Mumbai? You are most welcome. You and your all family members, they will get a long-term visa from my government. So anytime you can come, anywhere you can go.
Thank you.
Prime Minister Modi with Moshe. Lovely poignant moment there in Jerusalem. Well, India Today's editor there, Padmaja Joshi, caught up with this little boy, Moshe Holtzberg, and his nanny, Sandra, who really in many ways is a rock star because she was the one who saved the little boy during 26/11. Let's listen in to Moshe and Sandra.
You love Mr. Modi. Why is that?
Because if for so much people is there in India, and he come to me.
Of all the people that are there in India, he has come here especially to meet you. Moshe, tell me, do you remember your time in India?
Do you remember Sonu man?
No.
But you still remember a little bit of language that you learned or anything that you learned in India?
Yes.
Yes.
Numbers.
Numbers.
Only numbers, Hindi numbers.
Ek, do, tin, char, panch, chhe, sat, aath, no, das.
Is that date ever going to be removed from your mind?
No, I don't think so. No. I don't think so. No. It can't.
Why? What does it mean to you?
It means. What does it mean? It's like I'm having a new life. Moshe boy is having a new life, and it's something great to remember, isn't it? Yes.
But what about those who are behind it? You know, we keep talking about how the real perpetrators of that attack were never punished. And look what it did to the life of this little boy now. There's just pictures of the rabbi and his wife, his parents.
Listen, for me, my important is Moshe boy. Okay? And there are other people who can take care of that. Prime Minister is there, they will take care of it. A lot of ministers from our country is there. They can take care. This thing is Moshe boy. When he becomes big, as long as he needs me, I'm here. And that's it. My full mind is on Moshe boy. He becomes big, he grow up, and he'll become a rabbi. He'll see the world, and I hope he has a good life and become a good man when he grows up.
Wonderful, wonderful words by Sandra. My only focus is on Moshe boy. I hope he becomes a good human being when he grows up. She deserves more credit perhaps than anyone else for having saved that little boy and then spent the rest of her life devoted to little Moshe. Well, that was the human touch to the visit. But this historic visit to Israel, the first in history by any Indian Prime Minister, also had another message that was loud and clear. Terror won't be tolerated. Prime Minister Modi and Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu signed 7 key agreements today, the biggest takeaway being a joint action on terror. Israel also vowing to help Prime Ministers Make in India movement. Let's take a look at the diplomacy that took place today.
Unmatched chemistry. From the moment Prime Minister Modi stepped off Air India One, right into a bear hug with his Israeli counterpart. 22 hours later, the first real dividend of the heightened Indo-Israeli friendship, a subtle yet significant joint message to the world's terror-mongers from two leaders dealing more with terror today than any other. In a strong statement, the two nations, the biggest victims of terror, announced a new initiative to jointly combat terrorism. This would involve a crackdown on terror mentors and terror sanctuaries.
As such, we must resolutely oppose the evils of terrorism, radicalism, and violence that plague our time.
We also recognize that we are being challenged. We're being challenged by the forces of terror that seeks to undermine our world, our countries, the peace and stability of our common civilization. And we have agreed to cooperate in this area as well.
The other big takeaway, a big boost in joint development of defense products, including technology transfer from Israel with an emphasis on Make in India.
Our goal is to build a relationship that reflects our shared priorities and draws on enduring bonds between our peoples.
A total of 7 agreements were signed after 2 hours of one-to-one and delegation-level meets. These ranged from deals for water conservation to the cleaning of the Ganga to 3 space agreements. With the official talks over, focus now shifts to trade and investment, with top tycoons from both sides set to meet the two prime ministers tomorrow. With Padmaja Joshi in Jerusalem, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, while there may be that love fest going on in Israel, the fact is that India faces a challenge on its own borders. Now, it's close to a month since the flare-up on the Sino-Indian border near Bhutan. And it's only becoming worse by the day, with China's war rhetoric escalating. Today, telling India in no uncertain words to withdraw troops to prevent an escalation. The Chinese media is already drumming up a war offensive. Remember, Prime Minister Modi and Chinese Premier Xi Jinping could meet at the G20 on Friday. What explains the Chinese muscle flexing? Take a look.
To travel our area. Yeah. This is not your.
This is not your area.
No. This is not our area. This is our area. And you are doing recce.
After verbal duels, physical jostling, and baseless territorial claims, now it's open warmongering by the Chinese. An editorial in China's state-run Global Times has called for teaching India a bitter lesson and warned Delhi that a military conflict with China would inflict greater losses than that in 1962. It also says that China's people are infuriated by India's provocation and that they look down upon India's military might, and that China's People's Liberation Army is powerful enough to expel Indian troops.
मैं समझता हूँ ये डिप्लोमेटिक लेवल पे ये इशू हल हो सकता है। हम यही चाहते हैं जहाँ पे पहले चाइनीज़ थे वही स्थिति बनी रहे। चाइना जो भूटान की टेरिटरी में आगे बढ़ रहे हैं तो हम यही चाहते हैं कि आप आगे मत बढ़ो। ये हमारे सिक्योरिटी कंसर्न्स है और ये हमारा स्टैंड है।
Chinese ambassador to India, Luo Zhaohui, is also accusing India of using Bhutan to further its interest.
उन्होंने कहा कि भूटान के मामले में इंटरफेयर ना करे भारत, और ये चाइना और भूटान का मामला है।
भूटान खुद बोलता है ना, भूटान के किंग ने कल स्टेटमेंट दिया है कि चाइना हमारे टेरिटरी में आ रही है, तो भूटान क्या कहती है ये तो आप समझो।
The Tri-Junction, the point where the borders of India, China and Bhutan meet, is a strategic concern for India. China, by encroaching territory, can get closer to what is widely known as the Chicken's Neck, a narrow corridor that links the northeast to the rest of India. Experts say China is upset with India for 4 reasons: our proximity with the US, the continued opposition to the China-Pakistan economic corridor, the friendly and diplomatic relations between India and Bhutan, and the ever-growing Indian economy.
China on Wednesday reiterated its stand that an immediate withdrawal of Indian troops to the Indian side of the boundary was a precondition to resolving the standoff and also a precondition from preventing the situation from worsening. China's strong words once again also reminding India that in its view, India had trespassed the delimited boundary in Sikkim. China in fact even invoking the Panchsheel of the 1950s, saying that India, which proposed Panchsheel, was now violating it. Reporting for India Today in Beijing, this is Anand Krishnan.
And I want to go to Anand Krishnan there in Beijing to get the very latest, because that situation remains extremely troubling. Anand, with Narendra Modi and Xi Jinping set to meet at the G20 on Friday, any expectations of a de-escalation? Give us a sense of the mood in Beijing at the moment.
Well, in fact, here in Beijing, it seems to be pretty relentless. The very shrill rhetoric has been continuing. In fact, one of the party-run newspapers in an editorial today calling for India to be taught a bitter lesson, while the Chinese Foreign Ministry kept up its very strong statements today saying that India had violated Panchsheel by crossing the border, as China says, into what it claims is its territory. And China also saying that an immediate withdrawal of Indian troops was a precondition not only to settle the standoff, but to prevent it from worsening. So it seems that even though Prime Minister Modi and President Xi are likely to meet in Hamburg at the sidelines of the G20 summit, definitely at a BRICS informal meeting, maybe even a bilateral, we aren't sure yet. It seems that publicly China is giving very little room for a de-escalation in terms of keeping up their very strong public statements.
Anand Krishnan joining me there from Beijing a short while ago. Let's then turn to the big story back home, because it's in West Bengal that there is now a full-blown center versus state conflict, as it's now day 3 of communal tension in Basirhat in 24 North Parganas. But while the situation on the ground remains tense, the war of words has heated up, with the Bengal Chief Minister accusing the governor of being an agent of the center and being part of what she says is the BJP's design to destabilize the Mamata Banerjee government. Remember, the tension continues to simmer just hours away from Kolkata. Here's a ground report.
West Bengal continues to be on the boil for the 3rd consecutive day. And Baduria in North 24 Parganas, which is just 2 hours away from Kolkata and the epicenter of these communal clashes, is still under siege. Communal clashes broke out in Baduria, Basirhat and Barasat after a Facebook post on Prophet by a teenager went viral. Mobs torched police vehicles, vandalized shops and blocked roads on Tuesday.
Over the past 2 days, there have been considerable amount of violence with, thousands of protesters hitting the streets, protesting against the police. In fact, we are told that the SP of North 24 Pargana has also been injured.
The centre has deployed 4 companies of the BSF to Bashirhat as the state police struggle to contain violence. Section 144 has been imposed and internet services have been suspended in the affected areas. While the police have arrested the teen who posted the allegedly blasphemous message, members of the minority community were not happy.
প্রশাসন সেদিনকে খুব সংযত থেকেছে পুলিশ খুব সংযত থেকেছে মাথা গরম করলে খুব খারাপ কাজ হতো তারা চাইছে ফাঁসি চাই একটাই বক্তব্য ফাঁসি চাই
কিন্তু তাকে তো অ্যারেস্ট করা হয়েছে
অ্যারেস্ট করার আগে দিন অ্যারেস্ট করেছে বলতে আমাদের হাতে ছেড়ে দাও
একটা রাজনৈতিক দল কেন্দ্রে কখনো ক্ষমতায় আসে রাজ্যে কখনো ক্ষমতায় আসে কিন্তু একটা রাজনৈতিক দলের কোনো অধিকার নেই এলাকায় দাঙ্গা লাগানো বা ক্ষমতার জোরে গভর্নমেন্টের মেশিনারিকে মিসইউজ করে সেটাকে রিউমার মঙ্গার করা এটা তারা করছেন
As the state remains tense, political tempers are flaring up after Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee accused the state governor of humiliating her in a phone conversation.
আমি গভর্নরের দয়াতে এখানে ক্ষমতায় আসিনি আমি মানুষের ম্যান্ডেটে ক্ষমতায় এসেছি আই এম ইলেক্টেড বাই দ্য পিপল গভর্নর নমিনেটেড বাই দ্য সেন্ট্রাল গভর্নমেন্ট যে ভাষায় উনি বিজেপির পক্ষ নিয়ে আজকে আমার সাথে অসম্মানিত করেছেন আমাকে কথা বলে যে ভাষায় অপমানিত করেছে আমি এই কমিউনিটিরা যারা কাল থেকে শুরু করেছে তাদের বলবো আপনাদের জন্য আমাকে অনেক কথা শুনতে হয়েছে
The governor Kesarinath Tripathi rejects the charges and says he can't be a mute spectator to events that are unfolding in the state. The centre too stepped in with the Home Minister Rajnath Singh urging the CM and the governor to hold fire and focus on maintaining peace in the state. But his cabinet colleague Babul Supriyo called for the CM's resignation.
माननीय राजनाथ जी से मेरी बात हुई सेंट्रल फोर्सेस तो भेज दी गई है बट उसको एम्प्लॉय या तैनात करने की जो बात है वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को करनी चाहिए जिन्होंने किया नहीं है और
ये तो ये कहती है कि इस्तीफा भी दे देंगी
मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ ये बहुत अच्छी सोच है कम से कम एक अच्छी सोच तो आई कि मेरे से नहीं हो रही है मुझे रिजाइन करना चाहिए
The communal flare-up poses a serious challenge for Mamata Banerjee as such incidents have been on the rise in the state. But she needs to answer how mobs were allowed to run amok in a town that is barely 60 kilometers from the capital, Kolkata, and why the situation is still not under control even after 3 days.
There are prohibitory orders, section 144 that has been imposed. Internet services have also been banned in that area and central forces are assisting the state forces in order to bring some semblance of normalcy in Baduria. With camera person Chitrabhanu Pathak, Indrajit reporting from Ground Zero.
The big questions tonight. Why has Bengal become a communal tinderbox? How can a Facebook post trigger riots? Are there vested interests behind the riots in Bengal? Has Mamata Banerjee failed in controlling law and order? Is the governor acting as the BJP's agent, as Mamata claims? It's time for our face-off. Joining me on my face-off, first Dr. Amit Mitra of the Trinamool Congress, Finance Minister, West Bengal. We also hope later to be joined by the BJP's Babul Supriyo. But first to you, Dr. Mitra, law and order is a state subject. Therefore, if there is violence in 24 North Parganas, the first responsibility comes on the Mamata Banerjee government. You cannot blame the centre without first dealing with law and order. Mamata Banerjee seems to be blaming the centre for what is happening in Bengal, sir.
I think first of all you need to understand, Mr. Sardesai, the tectonics of this process. Darjeeling was smiling. Tourists were rushing. Border of Nepal. What happens there? There's intervention, obviously, by BJP, by the way the statements are made. Now then you come to communal divide. Consistently, a party that has only 2 MLAs in place of 211 that we have, it wants to get into this state by dividing Bengal, which has never been there in its history, since independence.
Are you saying that the Facebook Dr. Mitra, are you saying that the Facebook post that led to this violence was instigated by the BJP? Is that the allegation that you are making? Do you have any proof of that? That these Facebook posts are being put up by BJP to incite violence?
I'll just show you. You see, point is systematically, because there is no other option, because GDP has doubled, because the economic indicators, as you yourself know, taxes have doubled, development is happening at a huge rate. Only way to get into this state, strategically the way that BJP thinks, is to divide communities. This is done in UP, they are doing it in Madhya Pradesh by shooting farmers, they are doing it in Maharashtra, they are doing it in Gujarat. It's a systematic conspiracy in this country undermining federalism.
I am asking you once again, sir.
As far as law and order is concerned, today everything is fine.
Sir, I am asking you once again, do you or Mamata Banerjee have any proof that this entire Facebook post controversy was done by the BJP? You are making a serious allegation. You have to back it up, sir, with evidence. Otherwise, it will seem, because the allegation being made against your government is that you have allowed Islamic groups to emerge, Islamic radical groups to emerge, who in areas like 24 North Parganas are stirring the violence.
May I intervene at this point?
Yes.
Where is the 24 North Pargana? Is right on the border of Bangladesh. Who controls the border? The BSF, the CSS, or everybody from the center. I am making something even more serious. Look at this letter. It's a letter by the governor to the chief minister saying, and 35 such letters are with me. What does it enclose? It encloses, you see the top of that, Bharatiya Janata Party. Governor is writing to the chief minister every day with letterheads of BJP. Look at the next page, continues into it, and I have at least 30 or 40 such letters every day, as though the BJP's headquarters have shifted you know where. So
Babul Supriyo, Amit Mitra has made...
way that BJP follows in the country.
Amit Mitra
I don't think I want to debate. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm not going to talk debate with anybody. If you're finished with me, I will leave.
No, I'm not finished with you, sir.
You have any other question?
I have another question. I have another question. I have another question.
Mr. Amit Mitra, once again.
Ask me the question. Ask me the question.
Once again, Rajdeep.
Yes,
Rajdeep, once again.
I will
Mr.
not
Amit
speak
Mitra
with
leaves
Mr.
his spine, logic and all his studies at home.
No, 1 minute. Dr. Mitra, 1 minute.
Minister of the central government.
Dr. Mitra, 1 minute.
Please leave.
Babul, I'll come to you.
You can run away.
No,
please run away. I want you to run away.
This will be one-to-one.
You have lost your
mind. I told Dr. very happily. I don't want to get into a debate.
Okay, 1 minute.
I'll debate with Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai. No problem.
Okay, Mr. Supriyo, 1 minute. Mr. Supriyo, 1 minute. I'm going to come to you.
I want you to see
we
that
don't run away.
I want people to see.
Okay.
What makes you say, I don't want to say anybody? I'm not anybody here. Who are you? You are a spineless man, and that is what the world knows.
You're a good singer. I don't want to debate. I have told Mr. Sardesai, this is not
Mr. Supriyo, 1 minute.
One-on-one.
Mr. Supriyo, 1 minute. Mr. Supriyo, I'm coming to you. Okay, Mr. Supriyo, 1 minute. Amit Mitra, the fact is you have made, Dr. Mitra, you have made a major allegation. You are claiming the governor is operating like an RSS Shakha. Your leader is saying that you are putting BJP, the BJP's sign is on the letters that is being sent by the governor. You are making these major allegations. My point is Babul Supriyo is there on my program to give the BJP perspective. He is entitled to do that. I want to ask you once again. You are making this allegation of a
BJP perspective.
No, my point is, my point, sir, is should Mamata Banerjee not answer the serious question, why are these things happening repeatedly? It's not one instance. There have been several instances in Bengal. Why is it that this is happening repeatedly?
This is happening repeatedly because there's a conspiratorial process of trying. There's no other way. Development debate is over. Mamata Banerjee has won the debate with 211 seats. Only thing to do is get down to the communal thing. Do you know today she has announced that in every booth of the state, there will be a civil society entity along with the youth and others who will look after peace across societies And administration will work with them in every polling booth of the state. So there's complete peace. And Rabindranath and the great tradition of Bengal. Let me tell you, Rajdeep Sardesai ji.
Yes.
I go to a puja pandal. The chairman is a Muslim.
Yeah,
I go to a Eid Milap. Chairman is a Hindu.
Ministers taking money on camera.
That's the tradition of Bengal,
that's
which BJP is trying to break today.
No, you're saying that
very much.
Okay, you're going
Thank
to.
You very
okay,
much.
I want to come to you, Babul Supriyo. You've heard the Trinamool Congress claiming that the governor's office and you've had Amit Mitra now leaving the program.
Let him run away first.
I want to ask you, Babul Supriyo, how do you respond to the allegation? The allegation being made is that this is a conspiracy to, in a way, in the end, bring down the Mamata Banerjee government, undermine it by stirring communal violence. This is the charge which has been made, and even further, that the governor's office is being used for that. How do you respond, Babul?
No, well, how do I respond? Bizarre attitude, bizarre behavior. If you are making such allegations, look at the way this is the way they speak. This is their modus operandi. You make the allegations. At least let me counter it. You are saying I don't want to debate with anybody. They are absolutely uncouth people. And Mr. Amit Mitra is the same person who, in spite of being the head of GST Council, had to listen to what Mamata Banerjee said and behave like a spineless finance minister. The point is, even if it's a BJP, if you are blaming others, why aren't you controlling the state? Do it with your iron hand. You have law and order, it's a state subject, you have it in your hand. Why do you have police? Why do you have people?
Babul Supriyo, the Trinamool Congress is claiming that in Facebook that there is a pattern. Babul Supriyo, the Trinamool Congress is claiming there's a pattern. Facebook posts that are designed to incite violence are put out in the public domain in several such instances. They have given examples in the past of other similar instances that have taken place. Each time they are saying this is being instigated to create communal violence and then try and impose president's rule through the governor's office, who is writing, according to them, on the governor's letterhead, on the BJP letterhead.
Rajni, these are all bizarre thought processes. It's like I have had 1,000 frightful dreams. None of them actually happened. I feel like saying that sentence. What are they talking about? Where is president rule coming there? Today morning, yesterday, the local media was gagged, so people did not see it. Now that people started recording videos from the balconies and windows, the entire country got to know about it. I am saying, leave all this political turmoil aside. Let this be debated on the floor. Let this be debated in the right forum. Let the judiciary come into place with the people, the boy getting arrested, whoever that is. Do not make allegations. Control the ground zero situation. That is what they need to do. Why are the innocent people being ransacked? Why are they being tortured? And there is nothing called majority and minority when it comes to handling a criminal situation. There are only two kinds of people in this entire scenario: the criminals and the normal people. So leave this caste and the religion aside and just control the situation.
Why is it, Babul Supriyo? I take your point.
Why did you not deploy the central forces?
I take your point that
this is not ridiculous.
I take your point that state is that law and order is a state subject. However, I want you to answer this. Why is it that many of your ministers, Siddharth Nath Singh from UP is tweeting pictures of the violence going on in Bengal? The Tripura governor is putting a hashtag about the violence going on in Bengal. Your Bengal governor is being accused of instructing the chief minister and treating, according to her, as if he was a BJP bloc leader. My point is the BJP also fishing in troubled waters? Should the BJP be also not trying to bring calm rather than instigating in this manner?
I will give you a very logical answer to that. Siddharth Nath Singh was the Prabhari, was in charge of West Bengal state as a BJP leader for a very long time. He's just shifted to Uttar Pradesh because of his ministerial birth now. Tathagata Rai was a BJP leader in West Bengal who was he was the chief engineer of the first metro rail there, a very learned man who's now the governor. If you see the history of India, politicians are people who retire and mostly they are the ones who take the charge of governors. You cannot malign constitutional positions in this manner. You cannot say the army is taking bribes from the lorries just because because they're doing a routine checkup. This is a pattern that Mamata Banerjee is following. This uncouth method of diverting attention and holding a press conference at the Novanno, an official press conference where you're alleging the governor, as a selected, elected. What kind of language is that? She's just trying to shift the attention from the ground zero. And look at what is happening there. My point is very simple. If you think that BJP or someone else has got the ability to disturb your state, you are in power. Law and order is clearly your subject. Why aren't you not countering it? Arrest a few BJP supporters, prove it on paper that they are BJP people who have posted on Facebook. What is this? You just can't make allegations like that on a national channel debate and then run away. This is what exactly Amit Mitra has done. This is not it, and this just shows the mentality of Trinamool Congress. What is this game blame happening? You tell me that said.
Can I ask you in conclusion? Can I ask you in conclusion? Are you suggesting? Are you suggesting today? Are you suggesting to me today that there should be? Is the BJP building towards president's rule in Bengal? Is that what you want? Do you really believe there's a breakdown in law and order? Is that what this is all about? Or do you believe this is about Mamata's politics of Muslim appeasement, which you believe has in a sense encouraged what you believe are radical extremist groups?
We have had 100 incidents where Mamata ji is not only accused. See, there is one thing about accusation and allegation. Other is facts. She is playing the Muslim card, the appeasement card. Bangladeshi Muslims are a big problem in Bengal. We all acknowledge that. But today, we are not on television. The point is not to debate that. The point is to control the ground situation because the innocent people are getting tortured and are suffering. I am no one to say whether president's rule should be imposed in Bengal. But let Mamata Didi not take the center for granted. We have a very strong government at the center. Everything within the constitutional parameter will be done by the center for the people in Bengal, and we are not going to pay heed to what this blame game that Mamata Didi is resorting to. How does Amit Mitra say that the post on the Facebook was by a BJP supporter? What is this? You just can't make such baseless allegation from such a high post in Bengal government. He's the finance minister, for God's sake. Okay. So let the ground situation be calmed down by the state government, by the machinery. We'll get into this debate later, Rajdeep. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I get your point. Babul Supriyo, thank you very much for joining us. Amit Mitra, who joined us earlier, thank you. I wish that politicians were more open to debating with each other. This is an issue where the government and the opposition need to work together at the end of the day to stop the violence. That is the first priority of any state government. Stop the violence so that innocents do not lose their livelihoods and their lives. That's the first responsibility of the West Bengal government and the opposition, hopefully working with the government, not in confrontation. Babul Supriyo, Amit Mitra, thank you very much for joining me on the news today. My take, where do I stand on that serious situation that continues to brew in Bengal? Law and order is a state subject. The primary responsibility rests with the Bengal government to bring the volatile situation under control. Making this a centre versus state or governor versus chief minister fight is to deflect from the core issue. Yes, the BJP appears to be fishing in troubled waters, but the Mamata Banerjee government needs to address the central question. Why is it unable to stop the repeated communal flare-ups, and has it allowed radical Muslim groups a free run? The BJP too needs to ask itself, does it really want to bring calm, or does it have a vested interest in keeping the pot boiling? The tragedy is that it is the ordinary man on the street who's paying the price for this dangerous brand of communal politics. And tonight, because after facing flack over the inclusion of the disability aids under the GST tax slab, the government had yesterday lowered the taxes on some items manufactured locally for the specially abled. These will now attract a 5% tax under the GST. But those who have to live their lives with wheelchairs and braille typewriters, among a number of other items, are saying that this is not good enough. Remember, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi has also lashed out at the BJP government, accused it of being insensitive towards the differently abled people. As the special ability groups continue to demand a complete rollback, Paralympic cyclist Aditya Mehta has said he will write to Finance Minister Arun Jaitley as well. So why are the specially abled so angry over this new tax? Joining me now is activist Javed Abdi. Appreciate your joining me, Javed. I want to understand from you, the Revenue Secretary has said a levy of 5% is a reasonable rate. It's the kind of rate where eventually the manufacturer will pay 5% out of the input tax credit. The remaining amount will be refunded. The price of all equipment for the disabled, the wheelchairs that you need, will all be under control. So why are you out on the street and angry?
Well, first of all, they clearly messed up because all these things were 18% and 12% earlier. It is only after the backlash from the civil society, from the disability sector, the pressure put by the politicians and the media, that they have now brought it down to 5%. So let the Revenue Secretary be honest in at least admitting that they messed up. Number one. Number two, the argument being given about the input tax will still hold valid if GST is at 0%. So if the GST on wheelchairs and crutches and braille typewriters and hearing aids is at 0%, and I am a manufacturer who is preparing these items and I am paying input tax on my raw material, I can still claim credit for that. I can still get a refund. This point has been established by several economists over the last 48 hours, including such credible entities as PricewaterhouseCoopers, etc. So that argument does not hold at all. Second, Kajal at 0%, bangles at 0%, wheelchairs at 5%.
The Revenue Secretary says at 0% tax rate, import of wheelchairs and other equipment would have come in duty free and domestic production could have stopped completely. That would mean that domestically manufactured equipment would become uncompetitive as compared to imports. That's the second reason they are giving, that you need to keep a 5% minimum GST.
This press release yesterday, I think, has been put up in a great hurry, and so therefore you will see that there are two arguments being given, one not in any way connected to the other argument. So now this is the second argument, that we are protecting the domestic manufacturer. Again, I would give the same argument back to say that why is that not the case with plastic bangles? Why is that not the case with bindi? Why is that not the case with puja samagri? Why only wheelchairs and braille typewriters and crutches? And instead of following a protectionist regime, why would India not want to empower its manufacturers? Do we have a disability goods market to begin with? I mean, India is one of those unfortunate countries where we have a huge bicycle industry, but we don't manufacture decent wheelchairs. The braille typewriter. Are you
saying that the GST would be a disincentive to local manufacturers to manufacture equipment for the disabled in this country?
Sir, what I would like to remind the government is Chapter 8 of the newly passed Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act. You cannot pass laws and then take actions which are diametrically opposite to that. Chapter 8 of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act, which the government has celebrated, put out full page ads in taking credit for it, categorically says that they will give concessions, incentives, subsidies to make sure that disability goods, that disability aids and appliances are affordable. Now, by putting 5% tax or even 2% tax, how do you make them affordable is beyond my understanding.
What is the price at the moment, let's say, of a wheelchair, and what do you believe it will be after GST?
Well, that we'll find out. But
we still don't know. That's my point. We still don't know whether the price will be actually passed on to you as a consumer.
That is point number one, that even if the prices go down, whether these manufacturers who are very small time manufacturers will actually have the decency of passing on the saving to the consumer or not, number one. Number two, let's suppose argumentatively that the price of the wheelchair is 4,000 today, and let's say it will go down to 3,000. Is that not a cause to celebrate? Even on that 3,000, why would the government want to benefit 5%? The tax, the GST is going into the pocket of the government, not in the pocket of the manufacturer.
So you're saying that the government should adhere to what it has committed under Chapter 8 of the Act, that they will incentivize those who manufacture goods for the specially able so that they get the kind of equipment they need at the cheapest possible rate.
I am very, very keen that this is a God-given opportunity for this country to get serious about disability for once and to revisit this entire. We do not have a disability goods market, I am repeating again. This is a good opportunity for the Finance Ministry and for the Department of Disability Affairs to get serious, set up a committee, examine the issue, give incentives, give concessions, give subsidies, develop a market, ensure that the goods are available and are affordable.
Okay, available and affordable, that's the cry in a sense from disability activists to the government. It's our Get Real segment, the issues that often get ignored in the noise of the news. Thanks very much, Javed Abdi, for joining us. We will see if your voice is heard by the powers that be. Day 2 of the Prime Minister's historic visit to Israel, the first in history by any Indian Prime Minister. What has stood out though from the time the Prime Minister touched down in Tel Aviv is the camaraderie that he shares with his dear friend Netanyahu. Hugs, handshake. It seems this is the new bromance. Move over Barack. Benjamin is here.
Prime Minister Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister ever to visit Israel, and none other than his Israeli counterpart was there at the airport to receive him, breaking protocol. It's an honor that was earlier given only to the US President Donald Trump and the Pope, and it began with a hug, the first of many.
Great day, great day, historic day. Welcome, my friend.
The occasion was historic, the camaraderie obvious, and it was full of symbolism. Prime Minister dressed in white and blue, the colors of Israel's flag. Israeli Prime Minister welcomed Prime Minister Modi in a gracious speech.
Aapka suhaget hai, mere dost. היסטורי וראשון של ראש ממשלה של הודו בישראל. Thank you.
And then there was hug number 2. Dear friend Modi thanked the Israeli Prime Minister for the red carpet welcome.
Shalom, Legram, Anisemia Mayod, Lehiat Po. I want to thank my friend Prime Minister Netanyahu for the invitation.
Welcome speech is done, and it was time for hug number 3.
Hanachat Hazer.
Dear friends, Netanyahu and Modi then paid their respects at a Holocaust memorial. But it was not all serious business. The Prime Minister had a variety of the chrysanthemum flower named after him. And obviously, there were more hugs to follow.
Welcome, friend.
The Prime Minister gave his Israeli counterpart 2 relics and a Torah scroll, and he received a painting depicting Indian soldiers leading a British military column in Jerusalem in 1917.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Shalom.
Thank you, and I accept.
Day 2 of the Prime Minister's visit meant, you guessed it, more hugs. This historic trip has it all: hugs, handshakes and gifts. And move over Obama and Trudeau, there's a new bromance in town. Bureau Report, India Today.
Maybe the Prime Minister will become a brand ambassador for Huggies one day. But that's for another day, another time. That's the way Mr. Modi is, and that's the way Mr. Netanyahu also is. These are 2 made for each other Prime Ministers, it appears.